3, 2, and 1. Hello, friends. I'm David Nuno. We call this show Texags Rewind, and it is presented by T-Mobile. They want to remind you guys, I sound like I'm reading off a script. I'm actually saying it off the top of my head. T-Mobile.com/Across America to learn how you get more value and coverage through T-Mobile. Finally memorized it. All right. Sam, what was your favorite part of the show?
Lance Berkman.
Lance Berkman was great.
Yeah, he was really good. It was like an idol coming in. Even though Richard's a Dodgers fan, you know.
You know, it's funny. You talk, and then you stop, and then you talk again. This is Sam. It was a good interview. All right, thank you, Johnny Pauser. All right, so on the show, we obviously had Lance Berkman. That was a good one. We had a great discussion on the show. You can comment on the link below if you want to discuss it too. Like, who's going to help their stock the most in the NFL Combine? Looking forward to how things play out for those guys. Is it Leon? Is it Michael? Is it Marv? Is it Kenyon? Is it Jalen? Is it Isaiah? Is it Aaron Hansford? I don't know. I know I got some more guys left, so you could talk about that. We also had, beyond the Big Puma, we had Pat Henry talking about the SEC indoors. That was good. Billy Liucci came by for a Tuesday 9 o'clock edition of the show. And then we talked some college basketball. A&M playing some really good ball. Can they win these next two and potentially get into the tournament? Maybe. We talked about it. It's Texags Rewind. I look at Michael Clemens as a guy that can really, he's the kind of guy that I think will show up well at the Combine.
Yeah.
Size, strength, the chance for these guys to, you've interviewed him up close, how impressive he is as a young man as well.
Yeah, no, I heard you earlier. I agree. He's walking the room, and people are going to go, "Oh man!" Like, he looks good on tape. And what they said about him, rigged. I mean, that has been, all the way through, and even out of high school. Like, what some of the things that have kept him from. He's not the most, just fluid. You think about pass rushers like Von Miller, where they talk about how they kind of almost like a, I did this like I was Tokyo Drift over here. Like, they can get that bend and go around the corner and get their body lean so low, and they're so fluid through the hips and the spin. And Michael doesn't have that, but he's taught himself, and with Terry Price obviously has as well, but he's just kind of like self-made over the course of the last 5-6 years even, where he's just gotten better and better and better, where he's overcome that by adding moves, by just playing football, going against SEC linemen, and he's just gotten better and better and better and better. And I like that write-up you read because it talks about, it references like the areas that aren't necessarily his strengths and that back in the past were weaknesses. Now I think he was able to develop his game enough to where he overcame his weaknesses to become a really effective, sometimes lethal pass rusher in the SEC. Just ask Max Johnson, who's now in the A&M locker room. But I like that write-up. I like kind of where they had him, like middle round guy. And I think he can play a long time in the NFL. And his best football is still ahead of him, even though he's an older guy. Like, I think, his first, 5 years in the NFL. And when you're drafting a guy those rounds, isn't that really all you're thinking about? I think he'll be tough. He'll take coaching and get better. He's a grown-ass man already, and I think he's physical. He's got a nasty streak on the field, and he's going to be all about, football and that NFL life. So
I didn't know this.
I'm excited about him. But I think, Liao can help himself
That's what I tell Olin, too, yeah.
Because of what, people, it just feels like they want to drop him in these mocks and stuff. And I think people are forgetting what a special athlete he is at I don't know what he's going to come in at for that. He could be over 300. He could be in the 290s, depending on what his goal was during these workouts.
So I didn't know this whenever I started reading these, but the gentleman who did the analysis on him is a guy we both know.
Oh, who is it?
Lance Erline. Okay. Yeah, Lance Erline, who I know has been critical of certain. I think he's been critical of DeMarvin, but he's done these. Not only does he do a show in Houston, but he's also a scout for NFL.com.
Yep.
Doing that. But the first thing he says about him lands hands quickly with initial strike, and that's kind of going back to what you were talking about earlier.
He's saying this about who?
About Marv.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see how they do this week. It's all week long through Saturday, so we'll be on top of all of that.
One thing many people may not know about you is your love for animals. I've heard from Hannah that you've had llamas, goats, chickens, pigs, your favorite opossum. Can you speak to that a little bit? It seems like there's never a dull moment at your house.
Well, yeah, I mean, I do. I definitely have an affinity for animals, and it's been that way my whole life, and particularly ones that maybe a little bit, off the beaten path, so to speak. When I was in college, I had a hedgehog for a pet for a while, and of course, we had the possum, which was probably my favorite. Although I was a bit disappointed, kind of raised her, bottle raised her, and felt like I had developed some real loyalty. And my plan was to have it kind of live on the back porch. We had kept it in a rabbit hutch that we had for a while. And I thought, okay, well, she's used to me. She's kind of tamed down. She's been with us for about a year. I'm gonna basically like turn her loose, but hopefully she'll just live on the back porch. And we let her out, and that was the last time I ever saw her. So I mean, she hit the road and didn't look back.
Hey, Lance, did I hear you correctly? Your daughter's dating one of your players?
That's correct. Yes.
How awkward is that?
It would be a lot more awkward if he weren't such a great kid. I mean, I really, if I didn't like him or if I thought he was a knucklehead, then it would be awkward. But he's actually one of our team leaders. He's a great young man. I really respect him and respect the way he goes about his business. So that makes it easy on me. Just, I try not to get too involved. Just, hey, look, I mean, I don't want to hear about it. And of course, with Hannah being in College Station, I don't get to hear about every little detail. So that's actually a good thing.
Hey, Lance, how appealing was it for you to build a program from the ground up, a program that hadn't really done anything, and you get a chance to put your imprint and take it to new heights?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity, but along with that, there's a lot of risk. I mean, we might not know what we're doing and just belly flop it. So having your name on something like that is it's a real challenge, and it's exciting in ways, and it's terrifying in ways, and just knowing that you don't even know what you don't know. And so that's this first year we're really figuring out. I mean, I've already seen a handful of things where I was like, oh man, this is a lot different than I thought. We have to make an adjustment. We have to do this differently. And so baseball, the good thing is the game of baseball itself is the same at every level. I mean, legitimately the same things that lose little league games are the same things that lose major league games. And so, if you get good, consistent pitching, play defense, you're going to be in a lot of games. If you can't play defense or throw strikes, you're not going to win. And that's true at every single level. And the hitting is kind of, it's fickle. It comes and goes. It's the hardest thing there is to do in sports. So that's why your pitching and your defense has to be solid. And, we're learning different things about as far as like, how do we develop our guys to get the most out of them? And, the pro style of development is just hit a bunch of ground balls, and, the guys kind of, they out athlete everybody, and there you go. But I think there's another level that we have to get to with our development, which we've already seen, that we haven't played very good defense. And so that's on us, not developing guys like they probably should be. And so we're going back to the drawing board on that. That's one example. So just those types of things make it a challenge, and it's interesting to me. And I don't know, we'll see if it works out or not. But obviously the goal is to build a nationally relevant program that has a culture and a tradition of winning.
How did A-Chain look this weekend?
I thought A-Chain looked real good. He runs 6'7". 661 wins it. And there's 6 guys in there in 1/10 of a second. He's right in that mix. 1/100th of a second. He's right in there in that mix. Devon just needs more races. He just needs more races. The 200 meters, he's not confident in himself, I don't think, right now, in being able to run at that level the entire 200 meters. So you can't be that way going into the race. You gotta think. You gotta be a positive thinker about what your abilities are in that day, or you're not going to run well. I mean, you're just not. And so he's got to get better at his thought process. Devon looks at indoor and outdoor completely different. Mm-hmm. I mean, you get through with the race, you feel, he's saying, I just don't feel good running up the hill and running down the hill. And that's not really the way it is. But that's the way it can make you feel, because that bank turn, yeah, it's an incline on one and it's a decline on the other. But you're running fast, you shouldn't really feel that. That's a mental state of mind about something.
Do you want to ask you about the Blue Bonnet invite this weekend, the big high school meet?
Yeah, first time we've put on an outdoor meet, high school. I think we had 70 schools say they wanted to come immediately. So there's going to be a lot of people in town this weekend, and a lot of people competing, and some really good athletes. And it looks like if we had a cold weekend, which we did this last weekend, we're probably going to have a good one this weekend. So it does look like we might have good weather, and so that will help us a lot, especially this early in the season.
I see a note that Cameron Dixon from Clearbrook is going to be in it. She's an A&M signee, so there's going to be a lot of the fastest people in the state coming by.
Yeah, we'll have a few signees in there, and to give an Aggies some opportunity to see some of the people that are going to be Aggies next year.
Next week, I definitely want to hit on the NCAA's coming up. But here this week, what is the workload like this week before that?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have a couple of days right now where we did some work yesterday, and we'll do some work today, and then Wednesday we'll take off. We'll have a Wednesday a day off for those people who competed at the championships. But then we're pretty normal. We get right back on schedule pretty quickly. You can't be off schedule for very long. This is a week too. I go to Trinidad tomorrow for Dion Lindor's funeral. Is on Thursday. Sad day for that as well. But we're moving forward. We have some good things coming.
I think Arizona and Gonzaga are pretty much locks for 1 seed at this point. I would also move Duke up there. I just think that they're by far the best team in the ACC this year, and if they even make it to the ACC championship game, then they'll be a 1 seed, especially with the narrative of Coach K's final year. And then I think whoever wins the SEC tournament will be another one. And right now, if Ty Washington and Severe Wheeler are fully healthy, I'll give it to Kentucky. I think that they've just proven, when they're at full strength, they're really, really tough to beat. I mean, losing by 2 at Arkansas is, that's nothing to be ashamed of for any reason. And Wheeler and Washington weren't at full strength. So I think Kentucky gets that 4th number 1 seed on Selection Sunday, and then we'll see where they end up.
What do you think it's going to be like Saturday when Duke does host UNC for that final Coach K home game? They're talking about Super Bowl price of tickets, just the craziness to honor such a wonderful career.
Yeah, I saw. I think Darren Ravel tweeted or something that it was the most expensive regular season sporting event in history for tickets right now, and Coach K is Duke. So if you're anybody who's anybody in Blue Devil land, and then you want to go to that game, you want to be at that game, and Cameron Indoor is not a very big arena necessarily, so you're gonna have to pay to watch that. But yeah, that's gonna be an incredible atmosphere. I just hope that North Carolina can at least make it a good game.
Hey, this last thing for you. Who's been the most disappointing team this year in the SEC? And I mean, I'm not going to point at Georgia because I don't know if there were that much expectations for Georgia, but who do you think's been the most disappointing?
Well, for me personally, it's Mizzou. I was just, after making the tournament last year, just to see the program crater in the way Konzo Martin, didn't bring in a point guard in the portal, didn't bring in any 3-point shooters. It's like, what year of basketball were you trying to be competitive in this year? Like 1973, or were we going for 2022 here? Like, I'm not sure. I think maybe other people would say, a team like Mississippi State, they brought in some big name talent in the transfer portal. They had a preseason SEC Player of the Year favorite in Iverson Molinar, and to not even be in like the next 4 out for Joe Lunardi at this point, it's a lost season. And I think that Ben Howland could end up getting fired after this season, or he might even step down just because things haven't gone the way maybe he thought they would after he left UCLA. So I mean, that's been kind of disappointing to see that they weren't able to become a legitimate NCAA tournament threat this year.
Hey, random guys in the back that are standing that are out of view, can you tell people what they're supposed to do?
Like, comment, subscribe, and rate too.
And rate. I hope you said rate. Can you get closer to the screen and say who you are, people? Okay, that's too slow. Like, people are watching this, man. Like, come
Where's
on.
the camera at? Oh, is it right here?
Does it matter?
I don't know. Yes.
This-
Like, comment,
okay.
subscribe, rate. David is the GOAT.
Okay,
And
don't ever touch me again. Just kidding.
That's all I got.
Richard, you can say hi. Thank you. All right, this video's done.